Hey, how's going guys? You are watching FreeCloud Gaming YouTube channel. Hope you are all having an absolutely fantastic day. In today's video I am going to show you top 5 open world games like GTA 5 for low-end PCs with 4GB RAM and no graphics card. But keep that in mind that all the above 5 games are randomly listed. Which means that the number of the game will not define the quality of the game. So now let's get started after the intro.
Let's roll.
3, 2, 1.
On number 5 spot we have Mafia 2. Mafia 2 is a 2010 action-adventure game developed by 2K Czech and published by 2K Games. The game is played from a third-person perspective and its world is navigated on foot or by vehicle. The game is set in the 1940s early 1950s era of Empire Bay, a fictional city based on New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston and Detroit. There are 50 vehicles in the game. Depending on the weather during the course of the game, vehicles handle differently. For example, during the early chapters in winter, vehicles are more likely to slip on the road due to the ice. So definitely worth a try. On number 4 spot we have Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is an action-adventure video game developed by United Front Games and published by Square Enix's European subsidiary. The story follows Wei Shen, an undercover Chinese-American police officer on assignment to infiltrate the Sun On Yee triad organization. Gameplay focuses on Shen's fighting, shooting and parkour abilities, and on gadgets that can be used for combat and exploration. Players must complete missions to unlock content and continue the story, but they may instead freely roam the game's open-world environment and engage in both legal and criminal activities. Actions such as fighting, driving and racing grant Shen statistical rewards and earn the player achievements. Sleeping Dogs is an action-adventure game set in an open-world environment and played from a third-person perspective. The player is allowed to explore the game's world and take part in side missions and other activities. Shen navigates the world by running, jumping, climbing over obstacles, swimming, and driving cars, boats and motorcycles. The game features role-playing elements based on 3 types of experience points: XP, Triad, Base and Police XPs. Triad XP is obtained through melee combat and violent actions such as environmental kills. Face XP, obtained in civilian side missions, fills Shen's face meter and unlocks cosmetic items such as clothes and vehicles. By reaching a higher face level, the player can freely buy vehicles or clothing. When it is full, Shen gains health regeneration, increased attack damage and other benefits. Police XP is gained by minimizing civilian casualties and property damage in missions and by completing police side missions. The player may also collect jade statues used to unlock melee combat skills. So definitely worth a try. On number 3 spot we have Saints Row 4. Saints Row 4 is a 2013 action-adventure game developed by Volition and published by Deep Silver. The game's open-world nature allows players to freely explore a simulation of the fictional city of Steelport while completing main and side missions at their leisure. The single-player story follows the same player-created character from the previous games, who becomes President of the United States after stopping a terrorist threat. 5 years into their governance, they find themselves trapped in the Steelport simulation by the Zin, an alien empire who destroy the Earth and capture the player character and other members of their street gang turned media and consumer empire, the Third Street Saints. With help from some Saints who manage to escape and provide them with superpowers by hacking the simulation, the player character attempts to rescue their captured friends, escape the simulation, and defeat the Zin. Saints Row 4 is an open-world action game with third-person shooter elements wherein the player is free to explore the environment and, at their leisure, play story or side missions. As the leader of the Saints, a street gang that has become the world's most powerful and popular organization, The player is elected President of the United States, receives superpowers, and fends off an alien invasion. Most often the player will engage in shooting and racing activities, though other activities vary from fighting crowds of zombies, shootouts in tanks, side-scrolling brawlers, fights against supersized, LAKEY energy drink cans, and using a dubstep gun to interrupt 1950s Americana. The player character receives elemental powers and superpowers that greatly increase their jump height and running speed, such that the player can hop over buildings and outrun vehicles. The elemental powers include abilities to shoot fire and ice projectiles, telekinetically toss things, and create shockwaves upon landing jumps. As the player progresses through the game, they can optionally upgrade their abilities and weapons skill tree by using collectible data clusters scattered around town. The player character's look and feel is entirely customizable via a robust character editor feature. So definitely worth a try. On number 2 spot we have Grand Theft Auto 4. Grand Theft Auto 4 is a 2008 action-adventure game developed by Rockstar North and published by Rockstar Games. The game is played from a third-person perspective and its world is navigated on foot or by vehicle. Throughout the single-player mode, players play as Nico Bellic. GTA 4 is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. Players complete missions, linear scenarios with set objectives, to progress through the story. It is possible to have several active missions running at one time, as some require players to wait for further instructions or events. Outside of missions, players can freely roam the game's open world and complete optional side missions. Composed of the fictional city of Liberty City. At the beginning of the game, players can only explore the first island, composed of dukes and broker, with all other islands unlocking as the story progresses. Players use melee attacks, firearms and explosives to fight enemies, and may run, jump, swim or use vehicles to navigate the game's world. In combat, auto-aim and a cover system can be used as assistance against enemies. Should players take damage, their health meter can be fully regenerated by eating, using medical kits, or calling for paramedics. If players commit crimes, the game's law enforcement agencies may respond as indicated by wanted meter. Law enforcement officers will search for players who leave the wanted vicinity. The wanted meter enters a cooldown mode and eventually recedes when players are hidden from the officer's line of sight. So definitely worth a try. On number 1 spot we have Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is an action-adventure game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. Watch Dogs is an action-adventure game played from a third-person view. The player controls hacker Aiden Pierce, who uses his smartphone to control trains and traffic lights, infiltrate security systems, jam cell phones, access pedestrians' private information, and empty their bank accounts. The game is set in a fictionalized version of Chicago, Windy City, an open-world environment which permits free roaming. It has a day-night cycle and dynamic weather system, which changes the behavior of non-player characters, NPCs. For melee combat, Pierce has an extensible truncheon. Other combat uses handguns, shotguns, sniper rifles, machine guns, and grenade launchers. There is a slow-motion option for gunplay, and a player can use proximity aids, grenades, and electronic lowers. Pierce can scale vertical surfaces, hack forklifts and aerial work platforms to reach places otherwise unreachable, and can crouch behind walls to hide from enemies. The player has an array of vehicles with which to navigate the setting, including motorcycles, muscle cars, off-road vehicles, SUVs, luxury vehicles, sports cars, and speedboats. The car radio is customizable, with about 50 songs. If the player steals a car, its driver can summon the police. If the player has a good reputation, the driver may acquiesce. A good reputation may be gained by detecting and stopping crimes. The skill tree is upgraded with points earned from hacking, combat, driving, and crafted items. Money can be used to purchase guns, outfits, and vehicles. so definitely worth a try. So that's all for today's video guys. First of all, thank you so much for watching. And if you liked it, make sure to subscribe and press the bell icon and give this video a thumbs up to show your support on the video in numbers. And I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, stay home and stay safe, and most importantly, take care of yourselves. Bye.